Yeah, we'll try that. We have been through an absolute complete reset. And it might be working now. Yeah, I had that little glitch earlier, and I think there was something technically trying to say, we're not seeing you. I do believe we're back. Let me see if my phones are working. Philip, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you, Steve. Can you hear me, bud?
I got you. Yeah. It took about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, you get... I hung up a couple of times there because I was like going back. I could go to Facebook. I could hear you. I tried it on YouTube. YouTube was down. But I could hear you on Facebook, but I couldn't hear you when you were on the air. You know, when you're on hold, you can hear you. I couldn't hear you.
That's because, everything had gone down. The stream was dead. So, at one point, I think I had the bumper playing that may have been going on the app, but it wasn't, nothing was streaming via like Facebook or YouTube. But yeah, what the hell? We got, I don't know like where some of these host servers are located. We've got these, big storms down there and severe weather tonight. I don't know if that's impacting like internet connections in different parts of the country or what the case might be. I'm just thinking out of the box,
Tell you this much, bud. It always worked for us. I've been driving monorail trains for 10 years, and I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I really shouldn't let this out, but I'll tell y'all. The best thing that fixes anything nowadays is called a power off, power on. Some people back in the old days called it a reboot. We call it a power off, power on in monorails.
Well, that's pretty much we did. We had I was trying one step at a time. Zoom was out, and then the phone screener was out, and we shut everything down and started from scratch, from home base, and got it back up. So
it seems like to me anything that Bill Gates' Microsoft is in, it just seems like if that's involved in it somewhere in the system, you're going to do a power off, power on, and it doesn't just pertain to trains. It's anything that's got that Microsoft in the deal that's controlling it. So, I mean, that's what we've been doing it for years on the trains down there at Disney. When we get a fluke thing go on with a monitoring issue or something, we power off, power on. So it's the world revolves around it. So, but how you doing today, sir? Other than
well,
that?
Aside from that, I'm doing all right. I can't complain.
Yeah, I'm down here driving the maze in Orlando. They got the right lane shut down. They got the left lane shut down. They can't make their daggone mind up where they want this freaking road to go. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And they can't shut down one lane. They just got to shut down both lanes on the right or both lanes on the left. It's like almost like running a zigzag. So it's fun. Have you had more input about fifth wheels today?
Just the one call a few minutes ago. I don't know if you were on hold and got to hear that or not, but not a whole lot. He had the one guy that was saying that they had problems with like the handle or whatever, and they had like they lost 6 trailers in like a week's time, and they found out the fifth wheels or whatever, the handles were defective or something.
Yeah, the handles that he was talking about, they kind of got like a puller that you got. It's a bar with a puller, and you pull it straight out. But it's got like a little latch that keeps it from coming back out, so it can't come loose. Those things are junk. I never did like those from the beginning. I know yesterday when you talked to Moose, that the one he mentioned that was called a Fontaine fifth wheel,
yes. That's
the best fifth wheel you can buy right there. The old ones had like jaws that came up around the pin. That was the best one there was. But a lot of guys, like you said, they don't know how to lubricate them the correct way, and it just run the grease off of it, and it's runs. And that's the big thing with the fifth wheel. A lot of guys always thought you just put that grease up on the top, you're done. No, you got to have it where it's inside the jaw. You got to have it where it's spreading out, spreading in. There's a reason why that plate's got that grease on it. I don't know. A lot of the guys that run out west might know more than I know, but I'd heard that California tried to get away from getting grease on fifth wheels because I don't know what the problem was with it, but those fifth wheels ain't nothing to play with. You have one let go, and that's a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, have you had anybody calling about the bars underneath the trailers? You all been talking about that. I've been here.
The underride guards, no discussion about the underrides this morning.
Well, that seems like that's a craziness right there. I mean, anybody knows they should know where they're at, but the biggest problem we got today, Steve, all in all, is just distracted driving. You know, with these telephones and all this crap going on with that, everybody's up in the phone booth instead of driving their whatever they're driving, a car or truck or whatnot.
Yes.
Even the driver mentioned it yesterday with the fifth wheels on pre-trips. A lot of guys are on their phone while they're pre-tripping a truck. You shouldn't be doing that. I mean, gee whiz, Steve, how many guys go to the bathroom and they're on their phone in the bathroom? I mean, have you ever went into a public bathroom and how many people you see using the bathroom and the phone? And put it down, man. Do what you got to do.
Take care of business.
Focus on what you're doing. You know, it's crazy. I just don't understand it. I mean, I've literally been at a urinal using the bathroom and looked over to the right of me, and there was a guy on a phone while he's using the urinal. Now, how stupid is that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just plain doggone right stupid. So, but it is what it is. I mean, people with this distracted driving is just getting out of craziness. They cut somebody off, and then they make that guy mad, and then you have a aggressive driving situation, which down here in Florida, if you're aggressive driving, if somebody cuts me off and I get mad, then they call the cops, then I go to jail in an aggressive driving situation. They have that set up down here. Today's a good day for everybody in America because I think today is going to be the day that the pending stops on the stimulus checks. Do you know that, Steve?
The what stops on them?
A lot of banks are holding the checks until today. Today is the 17th, is the day that a lot of banks are clearing out the stimulus checks, so they'll be going into people's accounts.
Pending. Okay, so so it was there, but it's pending, and so the money doesn't get released until today.
Yep, today is one of the big days for a lot of banks, the 17th. So everybody's going to go get their big screen TV tomorrow.
I was just going to say, everybody gets to run out to Walmart and get a new big screen. Everybody gets to go buy some Chinese merchandise to help China.
Absolutely. They'll go out and buy their new cell phone, too, so they can cut me off while they're driving down the road there. So that's all I got to say, bud. You have a good day, and I hope that system hangs in there. Remember, power off, power on, guys. It works.
Yeah, I wish I could do it all with one push of a button, but man, oh man, we've got so many different steps to go through. Open up a Zoom meeting, open up the call-in studio, dial it in, and it's a little bit of a process to go through, but yep, back up and running. Kyle said everything looks good now on the streams and whatnot. Let me see here. It looks like we lost a number of listeners, but many of them have come back. Thank you for coming back with us. The numbers are going back up after about a 25-minute loss of programming. So, yeah, things we like to typically talk to Philip about. We've got AccuWeather actually had the story this past day up at the International Space Station. They actually released like an entire pallet of batteries. Like, it's like a space dump from the International Space Station. And this is now what they describe the heaviest single piece of junk ever jettisoned from the International Space Station. Mission controllers in Houston commanded the robotic arm to release an external pallet that is loaded with 2.9 tons of nickel hydrogen batteries, which is now in orbit around the Earth. It is safely moving away from the International Space Station, and it's actually going to float around out there for anywhere from 2 to 4 years before, gradually, incrementally, the Earth's gravitational pull is going to start pulling it back toward the Earth. It will eventually burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere, according to this statement from NASA. NASA's representative confirming that the pallet is the largest object, mass-wise, ever to be dispelled from the International Space Station, more than twice the mass of what they call the earlier ammonia servicing system tank that was just jettisoned way back in 2007. The external pallet was left on the space station by the final HTV supply ship last May, as the batteries were replaced with more powerful lithium-ion power storage units. Originally, the batteries were supposed to be placed inside an HTV and released from the International Space Station, burning up upon re-entry. However, a tedious spacewalk back on the 1st of February disrupted the mission schedule and left that pallet attached to the space station, apparently. They assure that ballistics officers indicate no threat of the pallet colliding with other space objects, but they do tell us it's going to be tracked very closely by the U.S. Space Command. They've got all kinds of space debris out there that they're tracking. I think there's thousands of pieces out there. But yeah, it makes you, I'm kind of thinking along the lines, the International Space Station is way up there in the higher orbit. But what about all these objects? And we got all these Starlink satellites being released, one batch after another, as this thing eventually comes settling closer and closer to the Earth before it finally makes that plunge to burn up in the atmosphere. I just kind of wonder if, I'm sure they've thought about, but might this thing take out some of the other low Earth orbit satellites as it gradually starts dropping back toward the Earth? Fascinating stuff. All right, lines available at 844-844-3388. We'll just take it on up to the top of the hour and get our top of the hour news update. Seeing as we missed about 25 minutes of you there anyway. Let's get back to the calls. Pup, what's going on there?
Hey, morning, Steve.
Morning.
Hey, the app even went down for a while, but
at one point, everything was down. We had everything down.
But, hey, on those handles on the dollies that they were talking about, too, those straight bars are about the best. But another one that he was talking about, those rods, if they get bent ever so slightly in there, too, it keeps those jaws from going all the way closed. And they get bent because guys try to back their pup up with their dolly, and then they misjudge, and that handle either hits the kingpin or something, and then it gets bent. Once it gets bent, it doesn't want to lock right.
Yeah.
And then Monkey Gouger was wondering about that deal out west and up north. I've already been in Goodland, Kansas, and say from Lyman to Denver, you can't get through there because they've got the road shut down. But it was nice and sunny back there in Goodland, Kansas, and the people there at that exit told me when we were staying at the hotel for a couple of days that they know exactly how much parking they've got. The restaurants and everything are supposed to keep a week's supply of food. And once those exits get full, they just keep closing the interstate farther back and farther back. That way people don't run out of food, gas, or what have you.
Okay, so that's why things were backed up so far then.
Yes, they planned that out way ahead of time. So especially like you were telling us about that storm, a week and a half ahead of time?
Yep.
So they had plenty of time to prepare. So But other than that, that's all I had for you this morning. I'm glad you're back on the air, Steve.
All right. Yeah, good to be back. Thank you so much for your patience there. Sometimes it just kind of works out that way, but all right. It's 844-844-3388. Yeah, just like we had plenty of advance warning about the big snowstorm over the weekend, we've been getting plenty of advance warning about a severe weather outbreak. We've been talking about it for almost a week now, and it's really beginning to come together. And I'm looking at some of the latest here. Mississippi. It's not very often that they go to they've got the different levels of the possibility of severe. You got your slight. It starts off with marginal, level 1, just a very, very small. Slight is number 2. Then you move to an enhanced risk, then a moderate risk. And the highest level on the scale is level 5, a high risk of tornadoes. And through much of central and northern Mississippi, the National Weather Service has just, they hardly ever issue this level of possibilities. A very rare level 5 high severe risk is now in place for central Mississippi, including Jackson, Vicksburg, Yazoo City, Forest, Meridian, Tupelo, Grenada, and Starksville. Rounds of supercells will result in a significant tornado risk today. I'm looking at someone forwarded this to me from one of the local meteorologists there in Mississippi. And he's saying the time frame starting about 1 o'clock this afternoon until 11 o'clock tonight, well after the sun goes down, several strong EF2 or higher long-track tornadoes are going to be possible across the state in a widespread severe outbreak of storms. This is the first, this brings it down to reality, how seldom they offer these sort of level 5 alerts. This is the first level 5 high severe risk in Mississippi since April of 2014, which happened to be the day of the Louisville EF4 tornado. This is a very rare risk designation for extremely dangerous days. They're advising everyone needs a way to hear the warning sirens and know where your local tornado shelter is at a moment's notice today. He then went on to post, things are getting worse by the hour, as they said. From the severe risk by county. Everyone's been asking for this list of counties in central Mississippi. However, tornadoes today will not follow our forecast colors and risk levels. A very significant dangerous environment risk for strong, long-track tornadoes across the entire state of Mississippi. Again, the time frame for everyone will be between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 11 o'clock tonight. Storms will not follow your forecast lines or county boundaries. Everyone should be extremely vigilant this afternoon and into the evening, getting warnings. Do not question the warnings. Head to a shelter with you and your family immediately if you get the advisories. So, yeah, when they get to level 5, what does that mean? You have the color code. I said, from marginal to slight to medium. Level 5 hardly ever issue, which states this: many intense tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail. Should I cancel plans today? Definitely. Check the weather every 15 minutes. Wow. Now, they've got a number of counties listed there. It's almost frightening what we may see unfold here for St. Patrick's Day across Mississippi and elsewhere this afternoon. So back to where we are this morning. We've been watching numerous severe thunderstorm warnings popping up, primarily through north central and northwestern Oklahoma. We've seen a few tornado warnings already this early morning, but the atmosphere is going to be much more unstable when this system reaches over toward Mississippi. I'm thinking they may actually potentially see even a little bit of sunshine this morning, which the more sun you get, the more warmth, and that destabilizes the atmosphere and just kind of sets the stage for these strong storms later in the day. You've even got some flash flood warnings at this hour. They're in parts of Oklahoma. Severe thunderstorms at this hour from about Enid up to Ponca City there in Oklahoma. So back to the radar, we've got some heavy rains stretching from Dodge City all the way over through Wichita, Kansas. Storms now reaching all the way up toward Topeka. But it's the southern edge of this line of storms sweeping through north central and central Oklahoma now. Nothing in the Oklahoma City or Tulsa areas just yet, but it's going to be coming your way later on today. Another batch of storms has come together in central Texas this morning, a line stretching from north and east of Abilene, now down to south of San Angelo. That's going to be kind of making its way toward the Dallas area. It's going to continue to blossom and expand through central Texas. And of course, you get up toward Amarillo, we've got the snow, the heavy snows that have been falling in northeastern portions of New Mexico this morning. And those heavy snows are eventually going to wrap around into parts of the Texas-Oklahoma Panhandle region and southwestern portions of Kansas there as well. So you can see where you've got strong thunderstorms in a place like Wichita, and then you've got snow falling when you get back into southwestern Kansas. Big-time differential in temperatures. And that's the fuel for the storms in that part of the country. All right, let's get back to our calls here this morning. Who's next up? It's 844-844-3388. I guess this would be Slow Hand, or would that be Han Solo?
I guess it's both. I'm surprised. I don't know what that says. I guess for this radio show, I'll just be Han Solo because I think that's what comes up more than anything.
Yep.
But, yeah, hey, a couple of things. First of all, a while back before I lost you, heard the story about the, I guess, UPS drivers that found the guy that had wrecked, severed his arm, and they saved that guy's life,
yes.
Which hats off to those guys. But it made me think, a little bit. I don't know this for sure. Maybe you can confirm with me, but doesn't Monkey Gouger also operate with one hand? He lost an arm.
He does. That is correct. Yeah, he lost his when he was a child. I think it was just 6, 7 years old, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hats off to Monkey Gouger. He's out here doing this job with one arm, and kudos to him. My father also lost his arm when he was 8 years old, and so I grew up with a dad who had one arm, and I never grew up thinking for a moment that he was handicapped in any way. He never acted any different or, put on like he needed help with anything. He was helping me, not me helping him. The only thing he ever needed help with was washing his hand with one hand. If he got his hands dirty working on an engine or doing carpentry or something, my mom would usually wash his hand for him. But, I have a lot of admiration for him. He can tie his shoes with one hand. I tried that 2 or 3 times and gave up.
Oh, yeah, good luck, right?
If you've never, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, so I just wanted to mention that. Just got me thinking about Monkey Gouger and my dad and the others out here. A lot of our military personnel who have lost limbs in service to our country, and hats off and thanks to them as well for everyone that has sacrificed so that we can have the country that we have here today. And hopefully we can keep a good country. I'm not sure how that's going to go. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, you were mentioning all this weather and the extremities of these weather. In fact, when I lost you, I dodged the bullet going through the panhandle of Oklahoma tonight. It was good till I got just past Tucumcari over to Santa Rosa. It started to snow. I had a little squall for about 15 miles, then kind of ran out of it. And then between Santa Rosa and Albuquerque, well, I should say Moriarty, for about 40 miles, it was downright ugly. And, I got thinking about, when the snowstorm hit in Texas, that ice storm 3-4 weeks ago, the conversation then was maybe this kind of weather has more to do with the hand of God. I remember we were talking about that, or someone on your program mentioned that. And so it makes me wonder, if this isn't also, part of that. But, being Christian, I do believe in the prophecies of the Bible. And I don't know if you've read 2 Timothy 3, but, 1 through 4, 1 through 7, starts out with, perilous times will come in the last days, and then it goes on to describe some things. And when you look at this weather and you look at, this shooting in Georgia, this guy went and killed 8 people. The stuff that happened in Vegas with that shooter out there, these Columbine all those years ago, it all goes into the definition of perilous times, I think. And so these are the days that we live in. How to navigate it and survive it, I guess that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah, well, I concur. I mean, all my life, of course, I was brought up in a similar fashion, but I was taught no man knoweth the day nor the hour. The idea is you're supposed to be ready, no matter when it might be. But thank you so much, Han Solo. I've got one story talking about February of 2021 on a global scale. I think they're saying was the coldest on record. Is that what they've got? I have to pull that one up. But the other is everything's about man-made climate change right now. We're causing the earth to warm up, right? It's our fault. It's our greenhouse gas emissions. It's those damn diesels and automobiles out there spewing all that into the atmosphere. It's killing the planet. Well, is it or is it not? Because we've been through these cycles before. And I found this one very, very fascinating. Scientists found frozen plant fossils preserved under a mile of ice on Greenland. That discovery kind of confirms the understanding that the Greenland ice sheet has melted entirely away during what they refer to as recent warm periods in Earth's history. Like the one we're creating right now with human-caused climate change. We're causing it now, but what caused it thousands of years ago? No, we're not. The Earth works in cycles. But this new study provides strong evidence that Greenland is more sensitive to climate change than previously understood. Now, going back, way back, in 1966, believe it or not, I was 2 years old at the time, U.S. Army scientists drilled down through a nearly a mile of ice in northwestern Greenland. And they pulled up a 15-foot-long tube of dirt from beneath that ice. Then this frozen sediment somehow was lost in a freezer for decades. It was accidentally rediscovered in 2017, 4 years ago. To which in 2019, University of Vermont scientists looked at it through a microscope. They could not believe what they were seeing. Twigs and leaves, rather than just sand and rock. that suggested that the ice at some point was gone in recent geological past. That at some point in time that a vegetated landscape, perhaps an actual boreal forest, was there, where right now is a mile-deep ice sheet as big as Alaska stands today. Over the last year, the scientists at the Columbia University and the University of Copenhagen have studied these one-of-a-kind fossil plants and the sediment from the bottom of Greenland. Their results show that most or all of Greenland must have been ice-free within the last million years, maybe even the last few 100,000 years. Say, really? Totally ice-free, huh? Yeah, then somewhere along the line, I guess an ice age appeared. What was causing global warming? Several 100,000 or 1,000,000 years ago. It sure as hell was not the internal combustion engine, I'll tell you that. All right, let me get a news update here. We're going to make our way into our final hour. We've got lines available at 844-3388. The Steve Sommers Overnight Drive live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
USA Radio News with Dan Naraki.
8 people are dead after a string of shootings at 3 metro Atlanta spas. Police say 4 people died in a shooting at a spa near Ackworth, Georgia. Then an hour later, 2 more shootings occurred in Atlanta, across the street from each other, where 4 more people were found dead. Police arrested a suspect 3 hours later about 150 miles south of Atlanta. They say they believe the man they have in custody, 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long of Woodstock, Georgia, carried out all 3 attacks. And Texas residents will be off the hook for $29 million in electric bills from the February winter storms that knocked out power to millions. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton said that as part of the bankruptcy plan of electricity provider Griddy, about 24,000 customers are being released from more than $29 million in unpaid bills. Thousands of customers were hit with huge power bills during the storm because of the provider's variable rate plans. Griddy filed for bankruptcy on Monday. This is USA Radio News.
Awesome and amazing day, friends. John and Chelsea Jubilee here. By now, surely you've heard us on Wayne, and you're wondering, what is this amazing protocol that reverses my medical ailments, helps me gain lean muscle, helps me drop my body fat, and gain hydration?
Well, let me tell you what it is. It's a scientific sequencing of 6 things that you're going to do for 88 days and 2 weeks. And in this scientific sequence, your cells are going to open up and become porous like a sponge instead of like a glass-hard marble. Inside is going to come your intercellular hydration, and the eviction notice is coming to all the toxins and inflammation of your body. That's why you reverse. It's so simple. You have Chelsea and I every week as live coaches on a live Zoom call. All you have to do is call us today at 888-444-8895 or log on to energizehealth.com.
A report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence says that Russia and Iran attempted to influence the result of November's presidential election. The report says that Russian elements attempted to spread narratives to hurt Joe Biden's candidacy, while Iran tried to do the same to President Trump. Senator Ted Cruz says he's not surprised that Iran was working against Trump. The Texas Republican tells Newsmax TV that they would want to defeat the candidate that put so much pressure on them.
If you look at during the Obama-Biden presidency, the worst foreign policy mistake of the entire 8 years of that presidency was the catastrophic Obama-Iran nuclear deal that put over $100 billion in the hands of the Ayatollah. The most significant foreign policy decision President Trump made was to pull out of that disastrous deal. So, of course, the Ayatollah wants the administration that is going to give him billions of dollars versus the administration that stood up and employed maximum pressure to cut off the cash.
This is USA Radio News.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, and I want to tell you that arthritis is not a genetic thing. It's not a disease of aging. Neither is osteoporosis. Get a hold of my book. It's all in your head. It goes into the 25 different diseases you get when you have osteoporosis of the skull. These are all reversible. You take the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, the MSM, vitamin D3, stay away from all the bad foods, including gluten, and guess what? you'll regrow all your bones, including your skull and your legs and your hips and everything else. Contact us at usaradiohealth.com. That's usaradiohealth.com.
President Joe Biden says that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo should resign if allegations of sexual harassment are confirmed true.
That's a judgment for them to make about their state where they can be effective. Here's my position. It's been my position since I wrote the Violence Against Women Act. A woman should be presumed to telling the truth and should not be scapegoated and become victimized by her coming forward, number one. But there should be an investigation to determine whether what she says is true. That's what's going on now.
The president making those comments to ABC News. Cuomo is facing allegations of harassment from 7 women, which are being investigated by the state's attorney general. He's also facing an FBI investigation into his handling of COVID-19 cases in the state's nursing homes and an impeachment investigation in the New York State Assembly. And an archaeological dig in the desert south of Jerusalem has uncovered new Dead Sea Scroll fragments.
The Israeli Antiquities Authority tells us the fragments were hidden in the cave by Israeli freedom fighters in the revolt against Rome 1,900 years ago. Brian Trager of USA Radio Network in Israel tells us there are 2 reasons to call this a remarkable discovery.
It's really remarkable because we have further verification now that the Bible, in fact, is true not only on the basis of its internal integrity, but on the basis of archaeological discoveries.
From the USA Radio News Texas Bureau, I'm John Clemens.
And for USA Radio News, I'm Dan Naraki.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
ultra-low sulfur fuels.
The primary function of diesel fuel is combustibility. One of the little-known aspects of fuel is its role as a lubricant to metal-on-metal moving parts. The introduction of ultra-low sulfur fuels diminishes the fuel's ability to lubricate because sulfur, which has been mostly removed, has lubricating properties. Hot Shot Secret Everyday Diesel Treatment with LX4 delivers unmatched lubricity. Third-party testing confirms that it takes 3 times the amount of leading fuel treatment to match the lubrication benefit of 1 dose of Hot Shot Secret. Everyday Diesel Treatment is a fully formulated 6-in-1 premium fuel treatment for every fill-up, every time.
Everyday Diesel Treatment is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
The Overnight Drive with Steve Sommers. Live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios. Call Steve now. 844-844-3388. That's 844-844-3388.
Now we go get our final hour underway here on a Wednesday, hump day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, it is St. Patty's Day. Not going to be the best of days weather-wise for a broad portion, a large section of the country, as our severe weather event is technically officially already underway. And it's going to be going downhill from here. Again, as we mentioned last hour, the rare upgrade here in just the last few hours from the National Weather Service, putting a broad portion of Mississippi under a level 5 risk of long, large track tornadoes later on today. And then, of course, you've got pretty much the entire state of Mississippi in a much larger area at risk for tornadic activity, strong supercell thunderstorms, which you don't even have to have a tornado to get to the damaging straight-line winds. Already reports of hail coming in this morning, tennis ball-size hail, with some of these cells that have developed early this morning in parts of Oklahoma. Meanwhile, you've got your blizzard warnings in the Texas-Oklahoma Panhandle region, northeast New Mexico, southeast Colorado. We're literally just kind of running the gamut. The wind field, with high wind warnings through much of Texas, Oklahoma, over into northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas, even outside of thunderstorm activity today. States at risk for severe weather, including at least isolated tornadoes. There's like 17 states in the mix today. From Texas and Oklahoma to Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, eventually over to Virginia, North and South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Maybe even portions of West Virginia and Ohio before it's all said and done. Now, as I said, even outside of tornadic activity, winds of 70 miles per hour with some of these storms. As we head between now and Thursday, gusts could even be stronger, reaching 80 miles per hour Wednesday and Wednesday night. Within the zone along the I-20 corridor from eastern Texas and southern Arkansas to Georgia, some of these storms can briefly turn severe, producing damaging winds. Now, you've got the Texas governor placing resources on standby, preparing for this onslaught of severe weather that's just getting underway. Now, you think here, it's only been a couple weeks ago where Texas was slammed with the cold air, the freezing conditions, the busted water pipes, and I think that's what Rhonda's wanted to check in about this morning. You were down in Mississippi yesterday, were you?
Yeah, I was picked up Port Allen, Louisiana, and I come up 55 to 20, or 59 to 20. But they are some of the places down there, and I can't remember where I got fuel at, but they were still under a boil advisory from the ice storm 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So because I and another driver wanted some cups of ice, and she said the ice. She said we don't have any. I said, what about McDonald's? She says no. We're still under a boil advisory. But they were talking on the news yesterday, what little bit I did catch, about exactly the same thing you did, level 5. So, but it was storming like crazy raining like crazy when I come through Birmingham. And I'm up here, I don't know, probably, I'm almost to Sonora, Kentucky right now. So, but yeah, I just wanted to kick that in there, so I'm about to my fuel stop. But that's all. I just feel sorry for them folks down there. They still got, repercussions from the last episode of weather they had. So
yeah, I didn't realize that they were still contending. I didn't realize they're still contending with boil water advisories, because it's been, damn near 3 weeks now, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I knew it was 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I felt sorry for him, But, I had the opportunity. I can just go on up the road and get ice somewhere else, is exactly what I did. But, But that was all I wanted to kick in there for tonight. I'm feeling for them folks down there. Watch the weather, even though I'm headed back towards Michigan. So,
yeah, and they're telling them check the weather like every 10 or 15 minutes today, because things can change on a moment's notice this afternoon. All right. What are we looking at? It's 844-844-3388 as we get our final hour underway here. We've got open lines. Now, we were talking about the number of fatal crashes involving trucks from some of the news statistics on last night's program. And I knew somewhere I had seen that, oddly enough, in the year 2020, where we saw a whole lot less traffic than we would in a normal year, any year in recent history, with the shutdowns, people working from home, like the kids out of school. Traffic was down dramatically. Even in big cities where your typical morning rush would have backups, long delays, and in many cases, the morning rush was smooth sailing through some of those cities. Landline, I found this story. Traffic fatalities were up 8% last year, despite all that reduced travel due to the pandemic, according to the National Safety Council. How's that possible? In their preliminary semi-annual estimates, they calculate there were 42,060 traffic fatalities in the year 2020. Up from 39,107 the previous year. Nearly 3,000 more fatalities. What makes that even more surprising is the fact that the number of vehicle miles traveled went down from 3.26 trillion miles in 2019 to 2.83 trillion miles last year. We're talking a decrease of 13%, much of which could be attributed to the COVID. In the year 2020, the mileage death rate was 1.49 deaths per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. That's a 24% increase from the rate in 2019. That's the largest one-year increase since they've been collecting data dating back to 1924. Yeah, we're talking damn near 100 years. How is that possible? They calculate both traffic and non-traffic vehicle-related fatalities that occurred within 1 year of the crash. They're using traffic fatalities that occur within 30 days of the crash. So based on the Traffic Council's numbers, traffic fatalities declined in just 9 states. Hawaii saw fewer. Wyoming, Delaware, Nebraska, Idaho, New Mexico, Alaska, Maine, and North Dakota. On the flip side of the coin, there were 8 states, including the District of Columbia, that saw fatalities go up more than 15%. South Dakota actually up 33% in D.C., fatalities up 26% in Rhode Island, 26% in Arkansas, and the numbers go on, but it really defies all logic how you saw with so much lesser amount of traffic to see more fatalities out there on the roadways. I kind of alluded last evening to, I remembered the discussions where a lot of people were just really taking advantage of that lesser traffic and driving like a madman, like a bat out of hell. All right, let's get back up to the, hello, Big Moose, good morning.
What do you say, bud?
How the heck are you?
I'm trying to play truck driver. What about you?
Yeah. Well, do I understand here correctly that you used to be a singing man? Is that correct?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think you've been grossly misled. Where'd you get that information?
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm looking at an email here that says I was digging through some of my dad's old stuff and I came across this CD. Apparently, the Big Moose made a few albums back in the day. This one's dated 1991, and I listened to it, and I couldn't believe it. Why in the hell's this guy driving a truck? He said, I knew he was a steel guitar player, and I knew he was pretty good at that, but I had no idea he could sing, too. He's been holding out on us.
That was a long time ago, buddy. That was a long time ago. Matter of fact, I think that first one I made was about, I think it was 86, maybe.
Okay.
And your old man used to play it on the radio some down there. He had all of them. Your dad did.
Is that right?
All of them. He had a long time ago. I forgot all about that, to be honest with you.
Wow.
It's been a while. I still get the old guitar out, play a little bit every now and then, but I just ain't got hardly time to mess with it, you know.
And I was always a big fan of the steel guitar, the way they can, to make that bad thing. I mean, that loved the steel guitar.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty fortunate. I was around a lot of great musicians. I got to know guys like Weldon Myrick, Frank Harlow. Frank Harlow, he's still one of the premier dobro builders in this country. And actually, he only lives about 3 blocks from me right now. Yeah, I've been around a lot of them old slide guitar players. Matter of fact, how the first one come to be, I had got a call wanting to know if I'd come down and put some tracks down for a studio, for an album. They needed a studio player. and Tommy Collins, he had a song called "You Don't Put New Patches on Old Garments," and them guys is wanting to make a demo, and I went down there, and of course, you know, at that time you had 4-hour studio blocks, and we knocked that out in about 15 minutes. It's pretty simple song. So we laid that down, and we had time to burn. We'd already spent the money, so we figured we might as well use it since we was all there anyway. I think we cut 8 or 10 tracks that time, and that took off pretty good. So we did it again. I think at 91, I think that was the last one that we made when we was all together. So.
Yeah, I'm looking here.
Truck driving.
I recognize a whole bunch of the songs you performed on that because you got the Sunday Morning Coming Down 15 years ago. This time I heard her more than she loves me. Mind Your Own Business. With the Window Up Above, the Wurlitzer Prize, even the Folsom Prison Blues. You had a lot of good songs on there.
Yeah, we had a pretty good time making that. Like I said, I don't even know if I have a copy of them records.
Oh, yeah?
To be honest with you. I imagine somewhere I could probably dig one up, but I don't even know whatever even happened to them. 'Cause I got in the habit of where I like to eat regular, you know, and truck driving allowed me to eat regular.
Well, you gotta get a hold of your boy. You gotta get a hold of your boy Tater because he's got a copy of that. And I mean, you know, he could take one and burn it off for you. You get to go back and relive some of those old memories in the studio.
Well, I tell you what, he ain't got time to burn one off for me right now. I put that sucker on the hottest load. I don't even know if I would want to try to take that one that I sent him off with because it was tight when he left. He ain't gonna have no time to lollygag, that's for sure.
Wow.
He ought to be hopefully somewhere around Davenport about now, because that's where he ought to be. So we'll see. He's supposed to call me in the morning and let me know, so I can update it on the other end.
Yeah.
But actually, the reason I called you, you talking about this climate change over in Iceland, you know, or Greenland, or wherever it was,
Greenland,
you know.
yes.
And you're wondering what caused that climate change. Well, I experienced some climate change one time. My current second wife caught me in the throes of misbehaving with my future third wife, and buddy, it got cold at my house, and I mean right now.
Oh boy.
I mean, you could have stuck your tongue to the wall. Oh, shucks. And I tell you what, they were talking about that one volcano, and I don't remember which one it was, but they said that every time that thing erupts, it puts more fluorocarbons in the air than mankind's ever done. You know, in the history of mankind, that thing puts off more fluorocarbons than that every time it goes off, and I think it erupts like 9 times a year or something. So I'm convinced that all of this EPA and all of this crap is just a money deal, you know, something that they can regulate and make some more money off of. You know how that works. You know what the EPA stands for, don't you?
Oh, I know what it's supposed to stand for, but it's probably something else. If I ask you, what is it?
Yeah. It's the Environmental Pinheads Association.
Okay.
Well, keep it between the spotted and the solid, pal. I'm going to take this thing down here and fill it up, then I'm going to go back home and go to bed.
All right. Well, thank you so much for checking in, Big Moose. Have a good morning. Be safe out there. And North America just had its coldest February since, so it's 1994. This past winter. Let's see here. The winter has marked by some extreme temperature swings across North America. You saw some very staggering warmth in January. And, of course, frigid temperatures engulfed nearly the entire continent in the coldest February we've seen in decades. I guess it all depends on what part of the planet you're on. If it's cold here, it's warm somewhere else, and vice versa. You have seasons. You have the change in the seasons. Coldest February in the U.S. since 1989 was the official word, I believe, we saw this past day. Let's see here. Get back to your calls here. Lines available at 844-3388. And would that be Fly Rod checking in?
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Hi there.
Steve, how are we supposed to have a happy St. Patrick's Day and a happy hump day with that forecast you've given us to deal with today? That's just not right.
It's going to be difficult
Why don't you just put that
task.
back in your hat and pull out a different forecast, because that one sucks.
Yep. I would not want to be rolling through the state of, well, it's not just Mississippi. They're at the highest risk, but I mean, they're making it sound like we're going to see, probably 24 hours from now, we're going to be talking about active tornadoes. We're going to probably, sadly, be talking about the destruction and what the death toll may be in parts of the South following the weather that unfolds today, the way they're making it sound. That's the grim reality.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the weather today. That's for sure. Down here in Georgia. Steve, have you pulled the cover off your pole yet?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Well, I didn't think so, but I wanted to tell you, you inspired me. Tammy and I bought our house back in end of October, 1st of November. And the house we bought come with a swimming pool, above ground swimming pool. And and I don't know nothing about in-ground or above ground swimming pools, but after talking to different people and people telling me about all the work that was involved in it, we both just decided just to sell the daggum thing, and we'll just go spend our weekends or our time on the beach and let someone else have the headache of cleaning that thing and maintaining it.
I don't blame you.
I'm curious, do you know, Steve, if these governors of these border states such as Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, of course, California, wouldn't they have the legal authority under their states to declare a natural disaster and close the border down altogether, stop this this mass migration?
That's a good question. I hadn't heard or thought an interesting suggestion, but I've never heard of anyone thinking along those lines.
Well, it stands to reason if it's that bad, which I'm not doubting that it is, but if they want to protect the American people, it sounds to me like they need to be closing the daggone border down from Texas all the way to California, and no one in, no one out. I bet them politicians up there in Washington, D.C. would get an immigration reform done real fast if something like that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think that these governors would have the constitutional authority, their state constitutional authority, to do something like that. I might be wrong, though.
Well, I'm thinking back. You remember last year when the whole COVID thing was blowing up, like back in May or whatever? Remember they were setting up checkpoints to get into Florida, and then they had checkpoints to get into California. And some states weren't allowing people that weren't from that state to even come in.
Absolutely. So if they can do that, then why can't they do it now? I think it's because it's cyclic.
Yeah, the only state we hear that Texas, the governor there has sent more National Guard troops down, but I haven't really heard anything out of some of the other border states. Is Arizona doing anything? California? Does California even care? I guess Newsom probably could care less, but.
Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't give a flip one way or the other.
Yeah.
Him and a lot of them other stuff out there. But I wanted to also ask you about what do you think about? I just lost my chain of concentration. I hate it when I do that. Gray hair popping back in. Gray hair moment. Well, anyway, that's all I got for now. If you pop back in, I'll call you back.
What? It happens
My
to the best.
apologies. Thank you.
It happens to all of us. I hate when I do that. I'll be leading up to a point on something and then get sidetracked. Say, the hell was I trying to get you? I knew I had a point. Yeah, it's old timer's disease. All right, what's going to happen here with the whole George Floyd trial? The officer, developments over the past day, says the judge overseeing the trial of the officer charged with the death of George Floyd, that set off, of course, months of riots this past summer, is now considering moving the trial after the announcement came down that the city of Minneapolis apparently has paid the dead man's family $27 million to settle a lawsuit. Hennepin County's district judge may also delay the trial of Jarek Chauvin. Jury selection's been underway for more than a week now. The judge says the settlement, it's not just a legal decision, it's a political one. And I think the people in this room realize that. He's concerned that all the publicity that's going out right now about this $27 million settlement may compromise the ability of, when they do find 7 jurors that have already been selected, is it possible when they hear about they paid the family $27 million, that's going to predispose, in your mind you're going to say, well, according to the city, the officer's guilty. Can you have a fair, unbiased juror in that case? He said he's going to question the 7 jurors one-on-one, individually, at some point in time today, apparently, Wednesday. He appears very frustrated, exasperated that the announcement of this payment came right as the trial's set to get underway. How about that? I think the bottom line, this was a federal lawsuit. The court was not involved. And as I recall in my discussions, the answer was, we can't tell you what to do. And I think he expressed some concern that we would have about doing such a thing in the middle of jury selection. So there was no approval by this court to make that announcement about a $27 million settlement. But yeah, I'm thinking that probably would have a sway, an impact over the jurors as you're trying to listen to the evidence. Well, hey, the city paid the family $27 million. They don't do that for nothing. All right, quick news break. It's 844-844-3388. The Steve Sommers Overnight Drive live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
USA Radio News with Dan Naraki.
The crisis at the border is only going to get worse, according to former President Donald Trump. Speaking to Fox News Tuesday night, Trump said that the Biden administration choosing to reverse his policies, like halting the construction of the border wall, has led to a situation on the border that's never been seen.
People are coming in by the hundreds of thousands. Young children are coming in, and they leave their homes and they come up because they think it's going to be so wonderful. And frankly, our country can't handle it. It is a crisis like we've rarely had, and certainly we've never had on the border. But it's going to get much worse. I mean, what you're seeing now is very bad, record numbers, but it's going to get much, much worse.
The Department of Homeland Security said Tuesday that they expect the number of attempted illegal crossings at the southern border to reach the highest level in more than 20 years. This is USA Radio News.
In today's day and age, it's refreshing to find a company with values that match yours. And it's even more extraordinary when the products they make exceed your expectation in every way. That's what Michael's Naturopathic Programs has done for over 30 years. With more than 50 tried and truthful high-potency formulas, Michael's Naturopathic Programs give your body what it needs. No more guessing what herbs or vitamin, amino acid, or mineral you need. With Michael's, it's all in one bottle. From cardiovascular support to weight management to nervous system support to detox and cleansing and more. Michael's Naturopathic Programs work. They have to. Michael himself has been giving them to his family from the very start. Visit michaelshealth.com and get your tried and truthful formulation today. That's MICHAELS health.com. MICHAELS health.com.
Get a special discount when you input the code Pastor Greg. That's Pastor Greg for your special discount.
The Overnight Drive with Steve Summers. Live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios. Call Steve now. 844-844-3388. That's 844-844-3388.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
ultra-low sulfur fuels.
The primary function of diesel fuel is combustibility. One of the little-known aspects of fuel is its role as a lubricant to metal-on-metal moving parts. The introduction of ultra-low sulfur fuels diminishes the fuel's ability to lubricate because sulfur, which has been mostly removed, has lubricating properties. Hot Shot Secret Everyday Diesel Treatment with LX4 delivers unmatched lubricity. Third-party testing confirms that it takes 3 times the amount of leading fuel treatment to match the lubrication benefit of 1 dose of Hot Shot Secret. Everyday Diesel Treatment is a fully formulated 6-in-1 premium fuel treatment for every fill-up, every time.
Everyday Diesel Treatment is available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. Are you one of those truck drivers that came home after a long haul and found the only thing waiting for you was a stack of IRS letters? Your significant other was gone, but your newfound IRS problem is still there. I've heard this story many times over the years. While I can't help you with your broken heart, I can fix your tax problems. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed for many years, call me for a free consultation at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com. Like I always say, you keep your eyes on the road, I'll keep mine on the IRS.
Whether you're a diesel pickup performance enthusiast or just looking for a small upgrade, when selecting common rail fuel system components, look no further than Exergy Performance. At Exergy, you'll find injectors, pumps, and more, engineered like no others on the market using state-of-the-art equipment run by people that have been in the business for decades. So if you're in the market for common rail components at any power level, contact Exergy Performance or one of the many dealers listed on our website at exergyperformance.com.
Do you have a Dodge pickup and hate your automatic transmission? Of course you do. LaVon Miller at Firepunk Diesel here, and we specialize in heavy-duty and performance transmissions for your 3/4 or 1-ton Cummins powered truck. So if you're interested in turning your stock slush box into a towing monster, call us today at 614-733-3744 or visit us online at shop.firepunk.com.
Getting a good night's sleep while on that long haul can be quite the challenge. That's why Commercial Vehicle Group has partnered with Serta Mattress to bring you the Bostrom plus Serta mattress for the best night's sleep possible while you're on the road. The Bostrom plus Serta mattress, manufactured with Serta's patented Cool Gel memory foam, acts to dissipate body heat and eliminate pressure points, which reduces the tossing and turning that can be so disruptive to your sleep. The Bostrom Serta mattress comes in 2 thicknesses, 7 and 10 inches, offering support to drivers of all shapes and sizes. The mattress comes in the standard 80-inch length with 4 widths, 32, 36, 39, and 42 inches. For more information on the mattress or where to buy, call us at 800-459-7328. That's 800-459-7328. 7328.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines and is difficult to remove from the oil system. Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator is a powerful synthetic cleaner that targets stiction, contains no harmful solvents, and is formulated to be left in the engine to safely dissolve stiction for thousands of miles. It works as you drive. Our proprietary carbon nano lubricant is blended with Stiction Eliminator Eliminator, filling in microscopic irregularities inside your engine, providing a smoother surface for enhanced lubricity, reducing friction and wear. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Use Stiction Eliminator to solve an existing problem or as a preventative maintenance.
Hot Shot Secret Stiction Eliminator, available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
And now, back to the Steve Summers Overnight Drive.
All right, yes, indeed. Earlier we were talking about all these migrants being released. Like, they can hold them for, 72 hours is supposed to be the law. But there's so many right now that, some of these kids they're saying are being held like up to 10 days. You got to process them. So way too many. They're overwhelmed. They're overloaded. A couple of weeks ago, you remember the story that came out where, this was when the first deluge of illegals started crossing over, and they released that, I think there was like 108 COVID positive had been released. And they were pretty much taken to bus stations to head out wherever the hell they're going around the country, fanning out all over the country. COVID positive. So they're getting on Greyhound buses with other passengers, unaware that they're sitting on a bus with COVID positive people in their midst. I don't care if you're wearing a mask. You're going to be in an enclosed bus for 10, 12, 15 hours, depending on where they're going. It was shortly after that, apparently the CEO of Greyhound Bus Company sent a letter to the Homeland Security Secretary demanding that all these undocumented asylum seekers that they're releasing have to show proof that they have come back negative, COVID-free before they're allowed to board the bus. Our top priority is the safety of our employees and passengers, according to the letter. Guess a copy of the letter found its way into the hands of the Border Patrol. We need assurances that these detainees released by ICE have proof of a negative COVID-19 test, similar to the proof required for international air passengers that are arriving at U.S. ports of entry. Greyhound already asked our customers to stay home and not travel if they're not feeling well or if they've been diagnosed with COVID. However, migrants simply don't have that choice unless the government or their sponsors house them while they quarantine. This is a matter of public safety that the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement provides 100% assurance that no one released can be reasonably expected to ride a Greyhound bus infected with COVID-19. Now, you're actually putting all of our employees at risk here. News of that letter also came on a day criticisms being traded between Texas and Washington, D.C., where that's when the Texas governor said that the testing of released migrants is a federal responsibility. This unconscionable act by the Biden administration of releasing COVID-positive illegals in our state is putting the lives of Texans at risk. Border security is strictly a federal responsibility. The federal government alone has the responsibility to test, screen, and then quarantine illegals crossing our border who may have COVID. Instead of doing their job, the Biden administration suggests they didn't have the resources. Remarkably, they're asking us, Texas, to assist them in aiding their illegal immigration program. We refused. We're not going to aid a program that makes our country a magnet for illegal immigration. It's just insanity what's going on in this country today, folks. All right, lines available at 844-844-3388. What's happening, Larry? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I called about something else, but you're talking about the illegals coming in. I'm just totally amazed where the news media were actually doing camera shots of the kids in cages and everything else when Trump was the president.
Yep.
But I haven't seen a single photo that depicts the situation today, which we're hearing is many, many times worse than it was when Trump was president. So where's the public outcry from the national media about the way these kids are being treated and housed?
Haven't seen no AOC
it's
down
crazy.
along the border crying about the illegals drinking out of toilets. Have you heard anything out of her?
No.
I didn't think so.
It's absence. Yeah. Hey, I happen to get a big, big smile on my face when you were talking to Big Moose about his singing career. And you and I have talked about a lot of stuff over the years, but I was in a band when I was 17 years old. Everybody else was like in their mid to early 20s. Our lead guitar player was formerly the lead guitar player for the Casinos. That was before they made their one-hit wonder. And we played in bars all over the city, Newport Yacht Club, Tri-City Yacht Club, the Golden Key up in Hamilton, just a lot of different places like that. I was told, because back then, I was under 18, if something happened where the police came in, I was to duck out the back door and get into the car and sit there and wait till it was over, because I wasn't supposed to be in those bars without a parent.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Casinos?
I do remember the Casinos. That one song, I'm racking my brain. What was the name of that song?
Kiss me each morning for a million years. Love me each evening at your side. You remember that?
We used to play that on, believe it or not, on WUBE, the country station. They still played that song back in the late 80s.
Well, that made me think about that when Big Moose was talking about his musical career and singing career. Back then, I could do Lou Christie. Now, if I did it today, my head would explode. You remember Lou Christie?
That one I do not.
The Gypsy Cried, one of the songs.
Okay.
It would get real high, and I can't even attempt to try that, or my head would explode. But that was interesting hearing about Big Moose and his career, and it made me think of those old days. Our biggest day as a band, when the Casinos came to Cincinnati Gardens, we opened for them because of our lead guitar player's relationship with them back in the day. We only did about 6 or 8 songs to open, but that was my big claim to fame. Cincinnati Gardens, which has now been tore down, we were the opening act for the Casinos.
How about that?
And that's it. Now I'm throwing trash, slinging trash. How about that?
As you know, a little change of occupations there, right?
Well, that's all I got, Steve. I just couldn't wait to share that with the listening audience there, and I hope Big Moose is still listening. But maybe we can do a jam session together someday.
There you go. All right. Sounds like Big Moose wasn't. No, he ain't singing. His singing voice ain't what it used to be, I guess, is the way he put it. Can't hit those notes like he used to. You know, we all getting older, aren't we? All right, wide open lines here at 844-844-3388. Email from our old friend Truck and Phil, checking in as he does typically this time of the morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day, he says. I put the corned beef and taters and onions in the slow cooker, cooking all day. Of course, I'll add the cabbage later on today when I get home from work. And yes, of course, it's cooked with dark stout for St. Patty's Day, huh? Anyway, ready to head off from Fort Wayne to Sterling Heights, Michigan. Counting down the days to Christmas, right? All right, thank you so much, Semper Fi from Truckin' Phil. Have a safe journey this morning. Thank you for checking in. Let me jump over again. One of the bigger stories of the day today, obviously, is going to be the weather. It's such a broad area to be impacted, and undoubtedly many of you out there moving the freight around the country are going to get caught up in some of these storms. According to the Weather Channel, this dangerous outbreak is expected to unfold between now and Thursday. The threat of tornadoes, as well as widespread damaging winds and large hail. In the outlook issued from NOAA's Storm Prediction Center, it says severe thunderstorms Wednesday and Wednesday night could be widespread, capable of spawning tornadoes, several of which may be intense tornadoes. The ingredients for this outbreak: we've got an intensifying low-pressure system drawing Gulf of Mexico moisture into the south as it tracks across the central and eastern states between now and Thursday. At the same time, the jet stream's taking a deep plunge into the south. That combines the instability for thunderstorms and the wind shear, the differing directions of the wind up in the atmosphere to support supercell thunderstorms and tornadoes. All right, be sure to have multiple ways of receiving your severe weather warnings if you're going to be in this zone. Smartphones, of course, in this day and age, what most people carry with them. Make sure you have your weather alerts activated today. All right, so as we head through Tuesday night, all right, we're already there. Now we're headed into Wednesday. Widespread severe thunderstorms Wednesday and Wednesday night across the south. Tornadoes, damaging winds, large hail. The Storm Prediction Center issued a level 4 out of 5 severe weather outlook, which has now been upgraded to level 5 for primarily the heart of Mississippi today. Some severe storms are going to be ongoing this morning from parts of eastern Kansas and eastern Oklahoma into parts of western Arkansas and eastern Tennessee. But those storms are expected to become more numerous throughout the afternoon and into the nighttime. Yeah, hours from the central Gulf Coast and the lower Mississippi Valley, perhaps maybe as far east as western Georgia and as far north as Tennessee. The greatest threat of tornadoes is going to be parts of central and eastern Arkansas, northeastern Louisiana, into western Tennessee, obviously northern and central Mississippi, and much of Alabama. There's the possibility of strong tornadoes in that corridor. So I'm looking at the map. It's that zone from the northeastern corner of the Louisiana through all of central Mississippi over into western portions of Alabama that have been bumped up to the highest level on that risk of tornadic activity today. As we head on into Thursday, that line of severe weather is going to continue ongoing Thursday morning from the southern Appalachians to the portions of Georgia, eastern Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. These storms might pose a risk of damaging winds and some embedded tornadoes once again. Could spread as far east as the central and eastern Carolinas, eastern Georgia, southeast Virginia, and northeastern Florida later in the day. Again, we're up to Thursday now. Still, damaging winds, large hail, several tornadoes possible. Some of the tips they're advising before the severe weather strikes, you need to know where to seek shelter so you can get there quickly, even in the middle of the night. That's particularly important if you live in something like a mobile home. You'll probably have to leave the mobile home for either a community storm shelter or a stronger building. Take every forecast, watch, or warning about severe weather seriously, particularly during the overnight hours. And again, make sure you have multiple ways to receive your severe weather watches and warnings. That could include your NOAA weather radio or your smartphone that can sound the alarm to wake you up at night when an alert is issued for your area. You could get some precious needed minutes to quickly move to a shelter that may indeed save your life. All right, an active day on tap here for St. Patrick's Day, no less. Yes, Rhonda.
Hey, again. When he brought up Big Moose, I thought of something when Big Moose was talking about the Jane Mansfield bumper, the little bumpers we used to have on the trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Before, when everybody, and yes, I understand now that I was not thinking of the right thing for the underride guard.
Okay, all right.
But the bumpers, when they had the little shorty bumpers on the backs of the trailers, I had one down in Florida, and they had changed the law to where they had to have the full bumper, ICC bumper across the back. This was back when Victory was in business. They told me to go find a lumber yard or a hardware store, get me some duct tape, a 2x4, and a can of silver spray paint. And that's exactly what I did. I duct taped that 2x4 to the doggone bumper, sprayed it with silver spray paint, and that was legal enough to get me back to Ohio with that trailer.
Really?
I'm sorry. I didn't flip into my head until afterwards, but that was what they did with the short bumper. And I did Google that Jane Mansfield accident, and that was pretty ugly. So, but that was all I had for my repeat. I just thought about that, and it was humorous to me. So, have a wonderful night.
All right, have a good St. Patty's Day. I don't know if you get some time, get yourself a green beer or something, right?
No way. No green beer.
No green beer. All right.
I'll settle for straight.
All right. Well, have a great day. Be safe out there. Let me see here. All right. Got your email from Jared. He's okay. When you get home with your McDonald's and pop open your first Miller Lite, I got something I want you to check out here. You'll laugh your butt off. And, okay, I'll check those out. If you've ever felt like texting Tom Brady, you may now get your chance. Well, quite honestly, I've never thought about texting Tom Brady. If you do text me, you suck. Yes, I'll see it, says Tom Brady. I guess what he actually gave out his cell phone number for fans to text him. Is that it? Fresh off the 7th Super Bowl title, he took to Twitter to try something new here. He shared what he said. What he said was his cell phone number. Hey, what's up, everyone? So this is a real first for me, but I've been talked into giving out my cell phone number on the internet. So listen, rule number 1. Before we get into any of this is no texting on game days. Okay. He said sharing his number will be a tool that will allow him to communicate more directly with his fans and followers, where we can actually do a better job of responding to you and your questions. Sometimes it gets hard to sort through all the "you suck Brady" comments. I know there's been a lot of those over the years, usually from like Jets fans. But to be clear, if you do text me, you suck, yes, I'll see it, and I may or may not respond, so shoot me a message. I promise I'm going to get back to you, as many of you guys as possible, when I've got the time. It's not clear whether a text to the number that he gave out is actually delivered to his personal cell phone. However, an automatic response after texting the number reads, "What's up? Yes, this is actually Tom Brady. This message is automated, but everything else will come directly from me on my phone. Click the link and add yourself so you're in my contacts." Would you like Tom Brady's number? Yeah, it says it's area code 415-612-1737. What do you say, Knucklebuster? Have you sent Tom Brady a message yet telling him you're number one, the GOAT, the greatest of all time? I know Knucklebuster's a big fan of Tom Brady. All right. With that, we wrap things up on a Wednesday morning. Yes, St. Patrick's Day is upon us. But be careful out there moving that freight in the nasty weather that's coming your way in the southeast, the south central states, and then later today in the southeast. Like I said, we'll break down and have all the latest for you covered. I have a sneaky suspicion we'll probably be sharing potentially numerous tornado warnings through the overnight hours, Wednesday night into Thursday morning with some of these ongoing supercells. We'll hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst, as they always say. See you back tonight at the midnight hour. The Steve Sommers Overnight Drive, live from the Hot Shot Secret Studios.
You'll never guess the places that I've been. You never guess the places that I've been. 'Cause everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that dream that I live in. I'm never gonna let the day begin. Never gonna let the day begin. 'Cause everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that dream that I live in. Oh, don't wake me up before you go, and I'll just make this bed my home. Oh, darling, please just let me sleep. Give me my dreams. Better from above. Nothing's ever as it seems, yeah, except in that world that I dream of. Never gonna lose the ones I love. Never gonna lose the ones I love. 'Cause everything is like a dream, yeah, but only in that world that I